Hey everyone, how's it going? There is just one more video after this one in 2025, and this is a Pokemon I've been waiting to do for a very long time. Everyone's favorite sorta kangaroo? I mean, can we just take a pause? What is Kangaskhan? Like, Genghis Khan was a Mongolian conqueror, and it's got the pouch like a marsupial and the K. I got no idea what this thing is supposed to be. But for our purposes, what it is something with a very good move pool. I mean, it starts off with Comet Punch, which is okay, and Rage, which isn't very good. And in terms of TMs, I mean, every useful TM you could want. Blizzard, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Surf, which is an HM, Earthquake. It's great, right? Well, then we look at the stats. Speed 90, Attack 95, like those are okay. The big problem is its special of 40. That's going to make it really, really vulnerable to special attacks. To put in perspective how awful that is, it is the same special as Nidoran, Ekans, and Zubat, and it is less special attack than Diglett has. That could be a really big problem. Another big problem could be our inability to get by Brock, since we are only going to have normal moves. If Brock is going to be bad, Kangaskhan may not be able to be a top tier despite its other really good moves. Let's see what happens. But first, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Boot.dev. So I've been using Boot.dev for months now, and I'm currently learning lists in Python. Boot.dev is a really great way to learn back-end web development from start to finish. In addition to Python, there are many other languages like Go, JavaScript, and as the holidays approach and you have more time, this may be a worthwhile investment, not only to learn a new skill, but back-end web development can actually be kind of lucrative. According to this 2025 survey conducted by Stack Overflow, the median salary for back-end web developers was over $170,000, which is amazing. One of the things that makes Boot.dev so great is the fact it has this really cool interactive course component. It's not just reading from a textbook and then having to create your own ways of using the information. With Boot.dev, you're constantly forced to apply that information and build upon it. And later on, you can even do your own really cool project, which is something I'm really looking forward to once I get the fundamentals, at least, of Python. Also, as someone who does enjoy playing RPGs where I level up, I like seeing numbers go up, Boot.dev has a bunch of that with experience points, challenges to accomplish, and a leaderboard, which I am at the top of right now. I don't know if that's still true by the time I post this, but hey, for a moment, I was number one, even though I'm JRose 11. Boot.dev is great, and if you want to just try it out, you can actually do so for free and just read everything. But if you do want those really cool interactive elements, which I appreciate, good news, I got a promo code for you. It's just my name, JRose11. All you got to do is go to boot.dev, or you can just click the link in the description or pinned comment. And by using my code, you can get 25% off an entire year if you choose the annual plan. All right, well, I battled all the trainers in Viridian Forest, all 3 of them. Well, there's only 2 additional ones, and I actually decided to use Rage. Now, the one interesting thing about Rage is that I can't do anything but use it, but considering all I'm going to do is attack anyway, I thought the attack boosts could be useful. They weren't. I also then went to go battle the junior trainer, so I'm at level 10 now, and I'm going to go for Comet Punch. It's not doing more than Rage, but since it's a multi-turn attack, it's not doing more than Rage multiple times. I then switched to Rage, hoping it would start to stack. I really did believe that would work. Spoiler, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. In my 3rd battle, I finally knock out Geodude, and I do switch to Rage, but this time it's not for Geodude. I want to see how much I would do to Onix, and the answer is not enough. Not nearly enough. And as soon as Onix uses Bide, since I have to attack, to be fair, that would be true whether I used Rage or Comet Punch, but yeah, not good. After a couple more losses, I decided to level up to level 11. The other thing, and this is kind of unfortunate, to beat the junior trainer, I had to use some Comet Punches. So the truth was, I didn't have enough for Brock. I did really think that Comet Punch plus Rage would be the strat, since it does so little. And I actually in this battle get Onyx to really low HP, but in the very next battle, well, I do just about the same, but close isn't close enough. Unfortunately, this was a very long and tedious process, and I actually had to resort to just battling Brock over and over, since with Comet Punch and Rage being so slow, it's actually faster to get the experience points versus Geodude than to find a bunch of Metapod. That's typically untrue, but with a move like Comet Punch, it actually is kind of true. I timed it. So, yeah, we just kind of had to do that. Also, Rage proved just not to work. I really wanted to incorporate it into the strategy. I thought it might be useful, but Comet Punch has an interesting interaction with Bide, where only the final hit, or is it the first hit? I think it's the final hit, is counted as damage being absorbed by Bide, which makes it a lot more useful. I mean, I say a lot more useful. It still does a ton of damage to me, and we did run out of Comet Punches because, fun fact, it can miss. My Twitch chat actually worried that I had over-leveled. As it turns out, with just 4 HP remaining and 2 rages needed and luck, we were able to finally get by Brock. This unfortunately was about a 20-minute time loss off of a more optimal Pokemon. We'll see if Kangaskhan can overcome it, because this did look to be the biggest challenge. Or so you'd think. By the time I get to Misty, we have Mega Punch. And Mega Punch is way better than Comet Punch. Unfortunately, it's not enough to one-shot Staryu, and like Comet Punch, it can miss. However, more concerning is that base 40 special, even with my impressive HP stat, makes me very vulnerable to Bubble Beam. Very unfortunate. Thus, Misty, surprisingly, I didn't expect this, was a second try victory. Rival 2, on the other hand, was a fair bit easier, and truth be told, maybe I could have just battled Rival 2 and gone back to battle Misty. Probably wouldn't have been the worst idea. I do have Bubble Beam, you can see how little that does. I was curious how much it would do. But yeah, easy one-shot everything. And with Bubble Beam, we have a few more power points, but thankfully, we do have, with Comet Punch plus Mega Punch, more than enough that we don't need to heal. That's a sneaky way that some of these runs lose time, is having to go back, in some cases, several times to the Pokemon Center in order just to restore power points. In some cases, it's HP as well. But yeah, Nugget Bridge was easy. By the time we get to Rival 3, we get arguably one of the best moves in the game, Body Slam, which one-shots Pidgeotto, one-shots Raticate, one-shots Kadabra, and doesn't one-shot Wartortle. But we use Rage. See, we get to use it one more time, but I think we're going to replace it right now. You know what? I'll replace Comet Punch with Bite. We're not going to really use that move much either. Mega Punch, by the way, is already gone, which is pretty funny. We got to use it for exactly 2 major battles, but it was useful. It was useful. And there's a bunch of battles you guys don't see where Mega Punch was really good and saved a ton of time over Comet Punch. Pooh Tenant Surge is next. I'm very funny. Anyway, Body Slam, and this will shock you, another Body Slam. But you actually might be surprised that we can both paralyze a Raichu and don't one-shot it. If you don't know how Gen 1 works, I've explained it several times, but you might forget, or you might be new. Welcome if you're new. The way Generation 1 works is they look at the type of the move, and then the type of the Pokemon being affected by the move. This works a lot, because Thunderbolt's an electric-type move, therefore, it can't paralyze electric-type Pokemon. However, Body Slam is a normal-type move that paralyzes, and since Raichu isn't normal-type, it can paralyze a Raichu, but can't paralyze a Pidgeotto. Gen 1 truly is Gen Fun. After easily making it through Rock Tunnel, we make it to Giovanni number 1. I still have Bubble Beam from Misty, which is enough to one-shot Onyx, and Rhyhorn. Against Kangaskhan, I'm going to go for Body Slam. It crits. Kangaskhan goes for Comet Punch. What a loser. And there we go. I told you I'd use Bite. And we beat Giovanni number 1. Next up is Erica. I was a little worried about Victory Bell's Razor Leaf critting, but we got a full paralysis, so nothing to worry about there. And really easy battle. Like, really, really easy battle. Now, fun little fact here. I actually messed up. And I would realize this after Rival 4. So I'll show you the Rival 4 battle and then tell you how I messed up. It doesn't affect the Rival 4 battle. You just use Body Slam and it one-shots absolutely everything except for War Turtle. No, even War Turtle. Look at that. Great. But then I actually forgot to go to the Mart. And this is important because we're going to have to face 3 Ghastly with super high special. And Bubble Beam doesn't really cut it. So rather than waste my time, I actually hadn't saved since I battled Erica, which is really lucky. This is actually a rare instance than me forgetting to saved me time. And here you can see how much Razor Leaf does. It does quite a bit, but I was able to tank it. In fact, I got way less good luck this battle. Why don't I just say way worse luck? I don't know. Regardless, even if it had used Petal Dance, I think we would have been fine there. But Erica could have been kind of close if we got the worst possible luck. Anyway, there's no reason to show Rival 4 again. I'm just going to go get Rock Slide. I don't even need Ice Beam, so I'm not going to get it. In fact, there's really not much more to say until we get to Fuchsia and have to battle Koga. Now, Koga is annoying because we're at the same level, but we're relying on physical attacks, and although Kangaskhan has a really great move pool, it does not get access to Dig, and although theoretically I could get Earthquake right now, I do believe that would waste quite a bit of time. It would require an extra battle and also going back and forth. So I do try to win just with Body Slam, and it is going to be possible when Wheezing doesn't self-destruct, which it does the first time, and the second time, and you know what? Even the third time. However, this battle I got better luck in the earlier Pokemon, and so I was able to tank the self-destruct, so it didn't end up mattering. Maybe I could have gone to Sylph Company first, thinking about it, but whatever. Win's a win. Rival Fivel time. So, we're gonna go for Rock Slide versus Pidgeot. It does decent damage. You should know that in this generation, Rock Slide can't flinch, and hey, look, Bite finishes it off. Body Slam is enough to one-shot Growlithe, and it can't miss. Execute, unfortunately, not only doesn't get paralyzed itself, but went for Stun Spore, meaning I get outsped by Alakazam. I am able to knock it out. However, I get horrendous luck versus Blastoise. This battle was not looking good, but then with 38 HP remaining, Water Gun takes me down to exactly 1 HP, and we were able to knock out Blastoise, which is incredible. Even more incredibly, I remembered to pick up the full restore from the Safari Zone, so I don't have to go heal, saving me even more time. Look at me making good plays. That's not common. Now, Earthquake would really help with Giovanni number 2, but it would waste time, so I go Body Slam. Nidorino doesn't get one shot, but Bite finishes it off. It didn't do much to me at all. I crit Kangaskhan in the mirror match. Rhyhorn Bubble Beam is a one-shot, and the Nidoqueen Body Slam will do way more. It's going to be a 3-shot, and it just went for Poison Sting, no poison, and Scratch. And look, we can get Leer at level 41. You know, the move you get when you start the game. But now that we beat Giovanni 2, we have the card key. The rocket that would be right here is now gone, and so we can get the Carbos and the rare candy, which we always get, but we can also get Earthquake, which is going to be super duper useful. Not here, though, because we're going to battle Sabrina, and at level 41, we outspeed and one-shot Kadabra and Mr. Mime, but not Venomoth. And thankfully, Venomoth was fully paralyzed, because it can paralyze me. Against Alakazam, it went for Psybeam, and we don't one-shot. Yikes. I really thought we would. Well, in the second battle, this time Venomoth does exactly what I was worried it would do, and it paralyzes us. And then against Alakazam, it goes for Reflect, which is terrible, but we get Psywave and a critical hit with Body Slam. So on our second try, we're able to beat Sabrina. All in all, Kangaskhan has been good. I wouldn't say great, it's been good. Looking solid B tier, but the end game will really determine that. Against Blaine, Earthquake will come in handy. We can use Earthquake on Growlithe and knock it out, and Ponyta, and probably Rapidash, right? Yep, probably against Rapidash. And even, no, not Arcanine, but that's okay. Fire Blast would have been a little scary, but first try victory, very good. One more gym leader remaining, Geo 3-0. You know what? I actually like 3-Avani better. 3-Avani is a much, it just sounds cooler. Anyway, we're going to actually use Blizzard, which we got from the Pokemon Mansion. It one-shots the Rhyhorn, Unfortunately, I don't know why I went for Earthquake against Dugtrio. I don't know what possessed me, but I don't knock it out and I'm hit with Sand Attack. And then I level up, so I don't even get a badge boost out of it. Worse yet, while I don't miss, I don't one-shot Nidoqueen with Earthquake, so I have to knock it out with a Body Slam. I then do miss, not once, but twice against Nidoking. Then I'm poisoned, and then it's actually going to take 3 Earthquakes to knock out Rhydon. So I swap to Blizzard, which does more, but not enough to two-shot it. So I have to go to Body Slam. I got really lucky with accuracy. Recall that in Generation 1 only, Blizzard has 90 accuracy, making it more accurate than Mega Punch, and not the 70 accuracy you are used to. That was actually a lot more tricky than I thought it was going to be, which is not a great sign going into this battle with Rival 6. He's going to pull out all of his Rival tricks and lead with Pidgeot. I go for Rock Slide. It's going to be a 2-shot. And then I get what I don't want to miss. Thankfully, Pidgeot doesn't actually attack. So I make it to Rhyhorn with 154 HP after level up. Dizzy Punch is fine, but I'm not going to teach it. I'm going to go Blizzard. It does one-shot Rhyhorn. Then I go Earthquake. It does one-shot Growlithe. And then I go Body Slam. It goes Stun Spore. And then I'm paralyzed. It hits with Solar Beam. So I think this battle is over. Alakazam then goes for Reflect. I paralyze it, but I'm paralyzed too, so it still goes first. And Psychic knocks me out. Not great. I do have rare candies, and I will use them, but one more battle at this level. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go Blizzard just to see how much that does to Pidgeot. Not nearly enough. And in fact, Pidgeot's agility let it go first, but it didn't attack me, so I have 20 more HP this time. Not bad. Against Rhyhorn, we know Blizzard one-shots, but I guess I was wrong. It didn't. So I'm exactly at the same number of HP for Growlithe. We knock it out with Earthquake again, and then Execute. This time it's fully paralyzed, which is really lucky, so it didn't attack me. Alakazam still outspeeds and goes for Reflect. This time I don't paralyze it. It goes for Recover, but then I get a super clutch critical hit that hits through the Reflect. I make it to Blastoise, go for Body Slam, but it hits with Hydro Pump, which is devastating. I go for another Body Slam. I don't get the crit, but for whatever reason, it goes for Bite, and I didn't get the Gen 1 miss, so we are able to beat Rival 6 on our second try. Leveling up with rare candies is going to be super duper necessary. We were pretty lucky we were able to win that battle, but overall, I would say this about Kangaskhan. The biggest weaknesses I see are, like I said at the beginning, its bad special and inability to boost its stats. If it got something like Meditate or Agility or even Harden or something, we could use some pretty cool strats, but it isn't good enough to one-shot most things. And although the move pool is great, a lot of those moves are special moves anyway, so they're practically unusable. I mean, look how hard it is just to use Blizzard, and that's one of the strongest special moves in the entire game. In fact, I think it is the strongest special move, at least tied for, in the entirety of Gen 1. I can't think of anything stronger, at least in terms of pure base power. Alright, so I said I was going to level up, but I wanted to see what would happen if I didn't versus Lorelei. The answer is not good. Rock Slide does more than Body Slam, so I go for it. And I am able to knock out Dugong, but Cloyster is one of the bulkiest Pokemon. Of course, when you get a critical hit, it doesn't seem like it. However, Lorelei is able to use her Super Potions to prevent Cloyster from fainting. Eventually, I do get that miss, not just once with Rock Slide, but twice with Body Slam. That is a 1 in 256 Gen 1 miss. Then I'm confused with Supersonic, but not only do I hit through the confusion, I get a paralysis and it doesn't move, so I knock out Cloyster. Great! I've made it to Slowbro, and Slowbro is also super bulky defensively. And then it goes for Withdraw and Amnesia, meaning when it hits me with Water Gun once, I'm practically knocked out, and when it hits me with Water Gun again, I am knocked out. So let's go use those rare candies. Rare candies used. Lorelei leads with Dugong as always. Rock Slide does not actually as much more as I'd like, but with a 154 HP, we make it to Cloyster. Rock Slide is going to be a 3-shot. Oh, there it is. The attack. Oh my god! An attack drop plus a Gen 1 miss. Amazing. Now, one really great thing about having a Pokemon like Kangaskhan that doesn't evolve is that using rare candies isn't a slow and tedious process. You might wonder, why don't I just save after using them? That is because if Lorelei ends up becoming super terrible, I can always level up versus some other trainers that I've missed, and it's much quicker to do that at a lower level. Okay, so this is attempt number 4, and I go double body slam since it doesn't make a difference. Also, since it doesn't make a difference, it's going to be a 3-shot anyway. I get the para-hacks on Cloyster, which is good. Unfortunately, Cloyster gets a crit on me, but I've made it to Slowbro. Tie PB. It goes for Water Gun right away, so I'm at 18, but I'm able to knock it out, and I outspeed and one-shot Jinx. But that's about as good as it gets, unless I paralyze Lapras and it doesn't move. Wait a minute. Aw, that sucks. Very close, but not able to knock it out. In fact, barring some extraordinary luck, although I probably should have used Rock Slide there. However, if I did, Lapras would have attacked me, which is exactly why I didn't, but I probably could have done Body Slam Rock Slide. That was a bit of a mistake, but we'd still need exceptional luck in order to win. Well, 2 battles later, we get a crit on Dugong, that's pretty lucky, a crit on Cloyster, that's pretty lucky, and we paralyze the Cloyster. It goes for Clamp, but due to paralysis, it only hits once, which was really lucky. So we're at 181. We then get our 3rd consecutive crit on Slowbro. I promise you, the code I was using in the Wurmple run, that's not on. Also, different system. So we make it to Lapras with 142. However, that wouldn't be enough to win. We still needed Hydro Pump to miss once in order for us to win. And actually, Lorelei used a Super Potion, so we would have been fine. But that was some incredible luck. I have a feeling if we don't win here, I'm gonna level up to make Lorelei a little bit more consistent. I do think we're 1 level away. Anyway, Bruno, I go for Blizzard on Onix. It's a 1-shot. And then I go for Blizzard on Hitmonchan, because Hitmonchan actually has worse special than Kangaskhan. Doesn't knock it out. By the way, Hitmonchan does have counter, so that's why it's also smart not to go for Body Slam. We knock it out. I go for Body Slam. It actually one-shots Hitmonlee. And then Onix, Blizzard misses, but it goes for Rage. Earthquake actually is a 2-shot. So if I need to battle Bruno again, I should keep that in mind. But we're able to knock out Machamp and make it straight to Agatha. In some battles, Agatha is agonizing, but not in this one. Because all we gotta do is we actually outspeed and go for Earthquake. It's an easy 1-shot. And then against Golbat, we're gonna go Rock Slide. Not a 1-shot, but Super Potion basically makes it as good as a 1-shot. And then we can Earthquake Haunter, Arbok, and Gengar, and we make it to Lance. Now, here is where I made a bit of an oopsie. You see, I didn't think I needed Rock Slide anymore, and Thunderbolt, even with my terrible special, will do more than Rock Slide versus the Gyarados. So, let's use it, right? Great idea. Well, fun facts. Well, first fun fact, Thunderbolt doesn't do enough to knock out Gyarados in 1 hit, unless we crit. And then I have Blizzard for Dragonair, which isn't enough to knock it out, even though I use it twice, which was a mistake, because look at this. Body Slam, oh, also doesn't. But Hyper Beam we tank pretty well. But hey, remember I said it was a mistake? That's because Aerodactyl, now I have to go for Thunderbolt and Blizzard. Honestly, Rock Slide was probably a 2-hit KO anyway, so it really didn't matter. And Blizzard does, I wonder if that crit mattered, but it's double super effective. You gotta think it's a 1-shot against Dragonite. And we have made it to the champion. We've had a really good time versus the rival so far, and I don't need Rock Slide for this battle. So I think I'm in good position to win. Can we win on our very first attempt past Lorelei? Let's Laura see. All right, I go Body Slam, but that was stupid because Pidgeot mirror moves and then hits me with Body Slam. Should have gone for something else. Against Alakazam, I now outspeed, which is massive. The crit definitely didn't matter, so I think we're good, right? Against Rhydon, we go for Blizzard. We know that'll do more. Great crit there. Against Arcanine, we go for Earthquake. Great crit there. And against Executor, Body Slam, no paralysis, crit Barrage. Not the end of the world. And then Body Slam, no paralysis, and Full Restore. All right. Body Slam, no. Okay, so as long as we don't stay asleep max turns, we should be fine. Barrage is good. It can miss too. I mean, we're getting bad luck, but, you know, come on, just wake up. Come on, just wake up. No, 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 no. Come on. Come on. Ah, it's so dumb. That's so dumb. I mean, we did wake up, but come on. Oh. Well, like I said before, Lorelei was too inconsistent. So I have just 4,000 experience points before I level up. So in order to make the rare candies a little bit more efficient and to gain a little bit more stat experience and attack, I can just go to the fighting dojo and battle a few trainers. It'll cost a couple minutes, but it will make Lorelei a lot easier. Case in point, in my very next Lorelei battle, once again I win. Although, can we be honest, I'm getting some pretty good crit luck here, where I got crits against Dugong in both battles, not against Cloyster. That's alright. And actually, we get a growl versus, wait, 2 growls versus Slowbro. How did I win this? Well, Jinx is so weak defensively that it's still, even -2, I can use 2 body slams. And then Lapras, you think would be a crit, but no, it's a Hydro Pump miss, paralysis and no move, body slam, and then super potion. Finally, we get a crit on, what is that, our 5th attack? That was actually pretty average luck, if I'm going to be honest with you. But we can just skip ahead to the champion. Nothing notable to come, right? Wait, why am I showing a Bruno battle? Well, actually, just because I didn't realize Earthquake was a 2-shot. That really is the only reason why. However, if Hitmonchan had gone for counter right there when I used Body Slam, we would have lost. That was a very dumb, and it basically made this a 75% consistent battle as opposed to 100%. But we don't need to talk about Agatha at all. Lance, however, actually I do want to talk about. You see, with Rock Slide, it's a 2-shot against Gyarados. So that's not super interesting. We already know Dragonair is a range and not one that I'm on the right side of. But maybe when I level up to level 62 I will be? Well, looking like no. Thankfully Lance has Hyper Potions and not full restores, but it's the crits that have helped me. Now, the big thing here is Rock Slide actually didn't do much better than Blizzard plus Thunderbolt, and Blizzard doesn't one-shot Dragonite. In fact, had it crit me, I would have lost there. Well, that is now 2 straight battles we've beaten Lorelei and 2 straight battles we made it to the champion, which is a really good sign, and I think we'll beat him if we don't get horrendous luck. But that doesn't also mean I can't make adjustments. So I'm going to go Rock Slide here because it does a lot of damage, and there we go, Mirror Move Rock Slide. Blizzard would have had a chance to freeze, so that was the best move. We know we one-shot Alakazam. Right on, I go for Earthquake. I don't know why I did that, but whatever. A Leer, by the way, would have helped. That wasn't why I did it. I actually think I misclicked. Anyway, Arcanine Earthquake doesn't actually one-shot, so we get full restore, but then Roar. That's fine. And then Executor, we get a crit and a paralysis. This time, the rival doesn't heal. And we get another crit versus Blastoise. Isn't that always the way? You get all the luck or none at all. The rival is so pissed he turns away from me. Doesn't even want to look at me with those crits. But Kangaskhan has made it to the champion. How fast? Good question. We already know it's level 63, which is actually a really low level. But how quickly was it able to do it? 349. Well, I got good news and bad news in terms of tier list placement. I know exactly where Kangaskhan is going to go. It's going to be 28th among fully evolved Pokemon, just under Kabutops. The problem is it A tier or B tier? This is where tier lists become a little silly, because there is practically no difference between Kabutops, Kangaskhan. These are really close to one another. So I'm going to make the arbitrary cutoff of A tier 3 hours and 50 in-game minutes. Why? Because B tier actually looks pretty good, and I guess I could separate out some of the bad A tier Pokemon. But yeah, there's kind of like this A-, B- tier, but it's still kind of nebulous because B tier is chock full of, if you notice, a lot of Pokemon that are good, but level up so slowly. So they're at really low levels, and their time is worse because since they're low level, it takes them longer to beat things. So their strength actually works against them. It's kind of interesting. But overall, it being 28th makes sense. And that is actually it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back in a couple days with, actually, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure what video yet. You'll find out when I find out. Well, actually, I'll find out first. I have to make it, but then you'll find out. Take care.